What if I told you the nerve pain, tingling, or numbness you feel at night isn't just part of getting older, but the result of everyday foods quietly damaging your nerves while you sleep? Foods many Americans over 60 are encouraged to eat or drink without a second thought. As a neurologist who has spent decades caring for older adults, I've seen this pattern again and again. People do everything they're told, yet their feet burn at night, their balance feels less steady, and their hands grow numb for reasons no one fully explains. Here's the uncomfortable truth: nerve damage rarely starts with pain. It starts silently, long before symptoms become impossible to ignore. And by the time many seniors are told they have neuropathy, the damage has already been building for years. Not from age alone, not from bad luck, but from repeated exposure to foods that disrupt blood sugar, drain nerve protecting nutrients, and inflame fragile nerve tissue. In this video, I'm going to show you which common foods are doing the most harm, why they affect aging nerves so powerfully, and most importantly, what understanding this now could mean for your mobility, your sleep, and your independence in the years ahead. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Sugary drinks. The fastest way nerves get quietly injured. It often starts with something that feels completely harmless: a cold glass of sweet tea in the afternoon, a flavored coffee on the way to an appointment, a soda with lunch because I barely eat dessert anymore. For many older adults, these drinks feel like small comforts, not health risks. But for aging nerves, sugary drinks are one of the most aggressive and underestimated sources of damage. Here's what makes them so dangerous. When sugar is consumed in liquid form, it enters the bloodstream almost immediately. There is no fiber to slow it down, no chewing to pace absorption. Blood sugar rises sharply within minutes. For your nerves, especially the long nerves that travel to your feet and hands, that sudden spike is toxic. It triggers inflammation, damages the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen to nerve tissue, and stresses the protective coating that keeps nerve signals smooth and reliable. Over time, those repeated spikes don't just irritate nerves, they weaken them. Many seniors are told to avoid desserts but are never warned about drinks. Sweet tea is often seen as gentler than soda. Fruit-based drinks sound natural. Flavored coffee feels like a treat, not a threat. The problem is that your nerves don't care whether sugar comes from soda, juice, or syrup. They respond to the spike itself. And when those spikes happen day after day, nerves don't get a chance to recover. This is especially important after age 60. Nerves regenerate slowly, if at all. Damage that might have been repaired in your 40s now tends to accumulate quietly. That's why symptoms often appear out of nowhere. Burning feet at night, tingling toes when you're lying in bed, numb fingers when buttoning a shirt. The truth is, the damage often began years earlier, fueled by daily habits that never felt extreme. There's also a false sense of safety around moderation. Many older adults say, "I only have one sweet drink a day." For nerves, even one sharp spike daily can be enough to keep inflammation active and healing suppressed. Consistency matters more than quantity. Nerves don't need perfect blood sugar, but they desperately need stability. The most practical step you can take is also the simplest: remove liquid sugar entirely. Replace sweetened drinks with water, unsweetened tea, or coffee without syrups. This single change often reduces nighttime burning and improves comfort within weeks, not because nerves are healed, but because they're no longer being attacked every day. And this leads to a critical question that most people never ask. If drinks can harm nerves this quickly, what other everyday foods might be doing the same damage without warning? If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. White bread and refined grains, when easy to digest, becomes easy to damage nerves. It usually looks like a sensible choice. Toast in the morning because your stomach feels sensitive. Crackers in the afternoon because they're light and don't upset digestion. A bowl of cereal because cooking feels like too much effort. For many older Americans, refined grains feel safe, familiar, and gentle. But for aging nerves, these foods can quietly create the perfect conditions for long-term damage. White bread, bagels, crackers, pasta, and most boxed cereals share one critical trait. They are rapidly converted into sugar. The moment they reach your digestive system, they begin breaking down, pushing glucose into the bloodstream far faster than your nerves can tolerate. When this happens repeatedly, blood sugar stays elevated longer, inflammation increases, and the tiny blood vessels that nourish nerves begin to suffer. Nerves depend on steady oxygen and nutrients. Refined grains disrupt that balance again and again. This is where many seniors are unintentionally misled. Easy to digest is often interpreted as easy on the body. In reality, easy digestion usually means fast absorption, and fast absorption means sharp blood sugar spikes. Those spikes don't always cause noticeable symptoms right away. Instead, they work quietly, damaging nerve fibers and wearing down the protective coating that allows nerves to transmit clear signals. Months or years later, the symptoms appear: numb toes, burning feet, pins and needles sensations, or an unsteady feeling when walking. Another problem is how these foods are typically eaten: a slice of toast by itself, crackers between meals, cereal with low-fat milk. When refined carbohydrates are eaten alone, there's nothing to slow sugar absorption. No protein, no healthy fat, no buffer. The result is a rapid rise in blood sugar followed by a crash that leaves nerves stressed and underfueled. Over time, this cycle exhausts the nervous system. There's also an emotional layer here that matters. Refined grains are comfort foods. They're associated with childhood routine and simplicity. Many older adults turn to them during periods of stress, fatigue, or grief. Unfortunately, nerves already weakened by age are especially vulnerable during those times. The goal is not perfection or complete restriction, it's protection. When grains are paired with protein or healthy fat, absorption slows dramatically. The same slice of bread that harms nerves when eaten alone becomes far less dangerous when eaten with eggs, nut butter, or avocado. Stability, not elimination, is what aging nerves need most. If you're noticing subtle warning signs, tingling at night, numbness during the day, or balance that feels less reliable, this is often one of the first dietary patterns to reassess. And once you see how quietly refined grains affect nerve health, it raises an important question. What other healthy sounding foods might be accelerating nerve damage without obvious warning? 3. Fruit juice and smoothies, when healthy sugar reaches your nerves too fast. It's often chosen with the best intentions. A glass of orange juice because it feels gentle in the morning, a fruit smoothie because chewing feels tiring or appetite is low. Many older adults believe these options are doing their bodies a favor. But from a neurologist's perspective, fruit juice and many smoothies are among the most misleading foods when it comes to nerve health after 60. The issue isn't fruit itself. The problem is what happens when fruit is turned into liquid. When you drink juice or a blended smoothie, the natural fiber that normally slows sugar absorption is largely destroyed or bypassed. Sugar rushes into the bloodstream rapidly, creating sharp blood sugar spikes that aging nerves simply cannot handle well. These spikes trigger inflammation and oxidative stress that quietly injure nerve fibers, especially in the feet and hands. For seniors, this matters more than most people realize. As we age, nerves lose resilience. They recover more slowly from stress and are far less forgiving of repeated insults. A younger body might tolerate an occasional sugar surge without noticeable consequences. An older nervous system often cannot. Over time, those repeated surges damage the tiny blood vessels that feed nerves, reducing oxygen delivery and starving nerve tissue. Symptoms don't appear immediately. They build silently until one day the burning, tingling, or numbness becomes impossible to ignore. There's also a timing issue that's rarely discussed. Many older adults consume juice or smoothies on an empty stomach, often first thing in the morning or as a standalone snack. This creates the most dramatic blood sugar rise possible. Without protein or fat to slow digestion, sugar hits fast and hard. For nerves, that sudden exposure is particularly toxic. It's one of the reasons nighttime burning and early morning numbness are so common in people who rely on liquid fruit. Another misconception is that natural equals safe. Your nerves don't distinguish between sugar from soda and sugar from juice. They respond to glucose levels in the blood, not the source. Even 100% fruit juice can deliver more sugar in minutes than your nerves are designed to tolerate in an hour. The solution is not to fear fruit, but to respect how it's consumed. Whole fruit eaten slowly, in small portions, and after a balanced meal behaves very differently in the body. Fiber remains intact. Absorption slows. Blood sugar rises gently instead of spiking. That difference can mean less nerve irritation, better sleep, and fewer nighttime symptoms. Many seniors notice improvements within weeks after removing juice and smoothies, not because nerve damage is magically healed, but because the daily assault has stopped. Stabilizing the environment around nerves is often the first step toward protecting what function remains. And once you understand how something as healthy as fruit juice can harm nerves, it naturally leads to a bigger question. What other everyday habits are quietly keeping your nerves inflamed all day long without you realizing it? If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Processed snack foods. How constant grazing keeps your nerves inflamed all day. It rarely feels like a problem because it doesn't look like one. A handful of crackers while watching the news, a granola bar between appointments, chips in the afternoon because dinner feels far away. For many older Americans, snacking has become a quiet routine, almost automatic. But from a nerve health standpoint, this pattern may be one of the most damaging habits after 60. Processed snack foods are designed to be easy to eat, easy to digest, and hard to stop. Crackers, chips, Snack bars, pretzels, and low fat packaged foods are usually made from refined carbohydrates that convert to sugar quickly. When these foods are eaten repeatedly throughout the day, blood sugar never truly settles. Insulin stays elevated. Inflammation remains active, and nerves are left in a constant state of irritation without any chance to recover. Aging nerves depend on stability. They need periods of calm internal chemistry to repair minor damage and maintain signal clarity. Constant snacking removes that calm. Every bite triggers another rise in blood sugar, another inflammatory response, another stress signal to already vulnerable nerve tissue. Over time, this contributes to worsening numbness, burning sensations, and that uneasy feeling of not fully trusting your feet. What makes this especially tricky for seniors is that snacking is often encouraged. Smaller, frequent meals are sometimes recommended to avoid fatigue or stomach discomfort. The intention is good, but the execution matters. When those frequent meals are made up of processed snacks, the nervous system pays the price. Instead of nourishment, nerves receive repeated chemical stress. There's also an emotional component that deserves attention. Many older adults snack out of habit, boredom, loneliness, or stress. These foods are comforting and familiar. Unfortunately, comfort foods often come at the cost of nerve health. The effects aren't dramatic at first. They're subtle, slight tingling at night, mild numbness during the day, a little less confidence when walking on uneven ground. By the time these signs become concerning, the pattern has often been in place for years. Another issue with processed snacks is what they lack. They're typically low in protein, low in healthy fats, and low in the nutrients nerves need to maintain their protective structure. Without those supports, nerves become more sensitive and less resilient. Even small stressors begin to feel amplified. The goal isn't to never snack again, it's to stop constant grazing and give your nerves a break. Defined meals allow blood sugar to rise and fall in a more natural rhythm. When snacks are needed, choosing options with protein or healthy fat helps reduce spikes and calm inflammation. Many seniors are surprised to find that fewer snacks actually lead to steadier energy and fewer nerve symptoms. Once this pattern is corrected, people often ask a revealing question. If snacking all day can quietly harm nerves, could something else they consume regularly be weakening nerve protection from the inside out? 5. Alcohol and nutrient depletion. How a normal habit can leave nerves unprotected. For many older adults, it doesn't feel risky at all. A glass of wine with dinner, a cocktail while watching the evening news, something to help unwind after a long day. Moderate alcohol use is widely accepted in American culture, especially later in life. But when it comes to nerve health after 60, alcohol's most dangerous effect isn't what most people think. Alcohol doesn't usually damage nerves overnight. Instead, it works quietly by interfering with the nutrients nerves need to survive. One of the most critical is vitamin B12. This vitamin helps maintain the protective coating around nerves, allowing signals to travel smoothly and accurately. When B12 levels fall, nerves become exposed, fragile, and prone to misfiring. Tingling, numbness, burning, and balance problems often follow. Here's the problem. Alcohol reduces B12 absorption over time. It also irritates the stomach lining, making it harder for the body to extract nutrients from food. For seniors, this effect is amplified. As we age, stomach acid naturally declines, which already makes B12 absorption less efficient. When alcohol is added on top of that, deficiency can develop quietly even in people who eat well. What makes this especially concerning is that many older adults are already taking medications that further reduce B12 levels, such as acid blockers for reflux or certain diabetes and cholesterol drugs. Alcohol doesn't act alone. It stacks on top of these factors, gradually draining the nervous system of its protective resources. By the time symptoms appear, the deficiency may have been present for years. There's also a common misunderstanding around moderate drinking. Moderate does not mean harmless for everyone. Two people can drink the same amount, but one develops nerve symptoms while the other doesn't. The difference often lies in nutrient reserves, medication use, and how resilient their nerves still are. Once nerve protection weakens, even modest alcohol intake can accelerate damage. Many seniors with neuropathy are told their condition is permanent or simply part of aging. Few are ever tested for B12. Fewer still are told that alcohol could be contributing, not through toxicity, but through slow nutritional depletion. When B12 levels are checked and corrected, nerve damage doesn't magically disappear, but progression often slows. Pain may ease, balance may feel steadier, sleep may improve. Those changes matter. This isn't about fear or total restriction, it's about awareness. Reducing alcohol intake, spacing drinks away from meals, and asking for simple blood tests can protect nerves far more than most people realize. Nerves don't need extremes, they need support. And when people finally understand how alcohol quietly weakens nerve protection from the inside, it naturally brings everything together into one important realization. Neuropathy is rarely caused by a single food or habit, but by patterns that build over time. And understanding those patterns is exactly where real prevention begins. Protecting your nerves is really about protecting your future. As we grow older, the body becomes quieter in how it warns us. Pain isn't always loud. Damage doesn't always announce itself. Nerves, in particular, tend to suffer in silence. Long before severe pain appears, they weaken slowly, losing sensitivity, balance, and reliability. That's why neuropathy often feels sudden, even though it has been developing for years beneath the surface. What makes this stage of life especially fragile is sleep. At night, when the body is still, blood flow slows, and nerve irritation becomes more noticeable. Burning feet, tingling toes, or electric sensations often show up in the dark when there are no distractions. These nighttime symptoms are not random. They are signals that the nervous system has been under stress for a long time and is no longer able to compensate the way it once did. The deeper message in everything you've read is not about fear, but about awareness. Aging does not mean helplessness. It means the margin for error becomes smaller. Foods and habits that once felt harmless can quietly push the body past its ability to adapt. Understanding that shift is not a loss of freedom, it's a form of protection. Neuropathy is rarely caused by one dramatic mistake. It is usually the result of patterns repeated day after day: unstable blood sugar, constant inflammation, nutrient depletion, and missed warning signs. The good news is that patterns can change. When the environment around nerves becomes calmer and more stable, damage often slows. Sometimes symptoms ease, but even when they don't disappear, preventing progression can preserve balance, confidence, and independence. it's important to think forward. Over the next 1 to 5 years, the choices you make now will shape how steady your steps feel, how safely you sleep, and how much you trust your body in everyday life. Nerve damage that worsens increases the risk of falls, and falls are one of the greatest threats to long term independence in older adults. Protecting nerves today is not just about comfort, it's about staying upright, mobile, and self reliant in the years ahead. The most powerful shift is moving from passive acceptance to informed action. Understanding what harms nerves, adjusting habits thoughtfully, and paying attention to early signals gives you back control. Small, consistent changes often matter far more than drastic measures. Your body may be more delicate now, but it is not without resilience. When you understand it better and treat it with intention, you give yourself the best possible chance at a steadier, safer future. And that understanding, more than any single rule or food, is what truly protects senior health. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.